This is Miranda from 11th Hour LDS podcast on YouTube. And if you find my podcasts informational, interesting, and perhaps useful for other people, please click on it for like, subscribe, and share. Okay, today's topic is social media. And what does our church and what does our common sense tell us about social media? So, the first thing I'd like to talk about is what why I've decided to talk about this a little bit. And it's because recently I've noticed that even those podcasts that I've really enjoyed in the past that have to do with the church and that have to do with spirituality in general are using something called clickbait. And clickbait is something that podcasters use to get more clicks or views on their podcast. Now, recently I heard that somebody needed 30,000 followers in order to pay people that were editing and taking care of their podcasts. So people produce their podcasts on a video like this, and then they hire people to make it look more professional. And there's nothing wrong, something's wrong with my voice, but there's nothing wrong with looking professional, and there's nothing wrong with having a very slick and informative podcast. However, to use clickbait and pictures for the thumbnails of their podcasts that are deceptive just to get clickbait um, is very annoying. Let's say somebody says their topic is about rainfall in the rainforest. I don't know, I'm just choosing that just as a piece of information. So, and there's like, you have pictures of Amazon, Aboriginal or Indigenous people looking around at the land very unhappy or very shocked, that kind of a thumbnail. Okay. And maybe rainfall is too mild a way of stating it, but um, drought in the rainforest, or that kind of a title, and you're like, oh, there's drought in the rainforest. Oh no, the Amazonian people are having problems. Look at them, they're so upset. They've got pictures like that, or with their spears, you know, upset. Which it is a problem that the rainforests are going away, and there's some deforestation in many areas. But that's called clickbait. Okay, and then you go and click on it because, oh, you're upset that the rainforest is going away, and Amazonian indigenous peoples are very upset also because you don't like to see people upset. And you're an environmentalist or something, and really want the land to be preserved. And for about 40 minutes, they're talking about the globe and rainfall. Okay, fine. They're not talking about the Amazonian indigenous people being upset. They're not talking about the rainforest being plundered. They're talking about other topics that have something maybe to do with environment, but not the topic on the clickbait. Oftentimes, what happens is the individuals will get to the topic maybe 40 minutes into a 50-minute um, podcast. And then all of a sudden, there's one sentence and there's one little video, maybe 2 minutes. So maybe there's 3 minutes of the actual topic they put for their topic. And then they continue with something else. So it's very deceptive. And for many years, since I've been a young child, Oh, that's what advertisers used to do. Are you, blah, 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 are you not sleeping well? Do you have troubles with your children? Do you, they had this, uh, like, oh, yes, my children don't behave all the time, so I'm having trouble with my children. What do I need to do? Well, then you need to buy something, and there's a QR code, or there's a website, or, go to your local store and buy XYZ. Okay. So I don't blame people for doing clickbait. Some people's salaries are from their websites and from their podcasts. They get a certain amount of clicks and then they're able to earn income. The same thing with some streaming services have recently had certain programs that have supposedly something to do with the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. They use the word Mormon or Mormonism or polygamy or some major topic that is a click or um, created to create more uh, viewers. And it's often deceptive. A lot of the programs that are streaming and a lot of the podcasts, not all of them, but a lot of the podcasts that claim to be part of the church are not. They're part of groups that are against the church or have left the church or want people to join another church or this kind of stuff. So you just need to be more discerning about what you watch. And if you notice before you like something and subscribe and share, like I've asked you to do with my podcast, really check it out and see, is this really something I want? Do I want these people? Do I want this podcast? Do I want this streaming program to take residence up in my brain? Because when you're spending time with something, it's like you're asking this idea, or you're asking this organization, or you're asking this group of people to spend time with you in your thought patterns. And that's all I'm going to say about this. And then we'll get going on what does our church and what does common sense talk about um, social media. Okay, so there's a wonderful apostle called Elder Bednar. He's one of our apostles, which is a seer revelator. So this talk was given to graduates of a college called BYU, Brigham Young University. So Apostle offers counsel about social media. It's a wonderful talk. If you want to hear the entire talk, then please go to the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints.org, put in the name Bednar, Bednar, and put in the talk, Apostle offers counsel about social media, and you'll be able to hear the whole thing. Beginning at this place on this day, I exhort you to sweep the earth with messages filled with righteousness and truth, messages that are authentic, edifying, and praiseworthy, and literally to sweep the earth as with a flood. So, because we are getting a flood of clickbait, what should we flood the earth with? This is a unique season in the history of the world, in which we are blessed with a miraculous progression of innovations and inventions that have enabled and accelerated the work of salvation. It's also enabled and accelerated lots of information all over the internet. And everybody is talking, including me, on YouTube and creating podcasts. And I don't go to the other ones, the other social media groups. They're even stronger there. And he continues during different parts of his talk. I am confident all of us recognize how technology has accelerated family history, that's ancestry work, and temple work, that's within our church, our individual and family study of the restored gospel, and made it possible for us to learn about see, and experience the world in remarkable ways. If you want to know something, if you want to know something about my experience in the temple, perhaps I'll do a podcast on that and how temples really are God's work. Okay, so he's telling everyone to help transform this trickle of good information into a flood. He also says that when using social media, we should not exaggerate, embellish, or pretend to be someone or something we're not. Our content should be trustworthy and constructive. Our messages should seek to edify and uplift rather than to argue, debate, condemn, or belittle. Be courageous and bold, but not overbearing, sustaining and defending our beliefs, and avoid contention. A lot of podcasts bring up a lot of contention with things, and it doesn't mean you should be truthful. And if someone's not portraying something that's correct in your opinion, that you shouldn't correct it. But sometimes with people with podcasts, in order to create more, what do they call it, entertainment, and oh, well, let's see what else they have. So, oh, this is going on, oh, that's going on, um, is very contentious. So there are ways to create interest and education and to talk about your truth without being having all of that drama. As disciples, our purpose should be to use social media channels as a means of projecting the light and truth of the restored gospel of Jesus Christ. Too much time can be wasted, too many relationships can be harmed or destroyed, and precious patterns of righteousness can be disrupted when, when technology is used improperly. We should not allow even good applications of social media to overrule the better and best uses of our time, energy, and resources. That's what I was talking about. They're taking up residence in your brain. Is this who you really want in your brain? Is this who you really want in your time processes? We need not become social media experts or fanatics, and we do not need to spend inordinate amount of time creating and disseminating elaborate messages. So I can remember when I was growing up, TV was a really big deal then, and some people even had color TVs. Woo, it was really exciting. Remember when the internet first came in? If you were born at that time, there was dial-up. Oh my goodness, I could get information by plugging my computer or notebook, because they were called notebooks, not laptops at the time, into my telephone line, and it'll go bing, 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 and when it got you're on, Anyway, all these innovations. So I remember when I was a child, I would go to school and people would be talking, everybody would be talking about certain programs on TV, the Mickey Mouse Club or Howdy Doody. I mean, really not very controversial type of programs. Nowadays, it wouldn't be considered controversial. And I didn't know what they were talking about because we didn't watch very much TV in our household, and I felt left out. So that can happen sometimes when people are like, did you see this podcast? Did you see this clicky thing? Did you see this streaming TV program? And you have to see if it's appropriate for your vision and for the way you want to spend your time. Sometimes you need to have some entertainment, but what's in that entertainment? Is there a lot of blood and guts? Is there a lot of fighting? Is there a lot of truth? Uh, you know, does it create a peaceful and enlightening and uplifting type of atmosphere in your head, in your mind, after you turn off the TV or the computer? These type of things. So how to use social media wisely. Technology is a great blessing and can be used to share light and truth. President, our prophet, M. Russell Ballard. Oh no, but he was the president. At one time, he was the president of the 12 apostles, the apostleship. Make sure that the choices you make in the use of new media are choices that expand your mind, increase your opportunities, and feed your soul. This is from 2008. These activities can be very addicting. They can pull your focus away from things that are real and important. So, and there, he's suggesting only share things online that help you connect with and uplift those around you. And there are a lot of podcasts that don't directly have anything to do with the church that I belong to, but may reflect the gospel of Jesus Christ. And it doesn't mean you can't be engaging in some form of humorous things or in some form of interesting topics. But ask yourself if you're creating a podcast or creating some kind of social media or even a Facebook post, am I doing this for likes and clicks or for uplifting others? Okay. All righty. So please read each statement below. If the statement is true about you and your social media habits, take note. Maybe write it down. If something is like, oh, this is something I do, write it down. If you find that several of these following statements describe you and perhaps habits you've developed or developing, you may wish to focus on real life connections and limit the time you spend on your smartphone, on your computer, on your television. I spend most of my free time on social media or playing games online. If I do not receive several messages or likes on my posts, then I become really sad and depressed. Nobody likes me. Whenever I am bored or if I am not working on something, I'm on my phone. And when I say phone, it can be any form of equipment, whether it's a computer or TV or whatever, eyeglasses or, things. Okay. I am on my phone too much and do not have enough time to study or work. I text more when I talk with my friends and family. I'm not careful when I post things. Sometimes I've posted things that are inappropriate or mean. What is the one way I can be more responsible with social media and how I use my phone, my computer, and my other devices? So take a look at that. These are questions that you might want to ask in a family council with your children. Okay, now there's this really interesting article that I found. It's called Three Guiding Principles for Using Technology and Media. And it's by a licensed clinical mental health counselor. His name is Sheldon Martin. You can find the whole article online. It's called Three Guiding Principles for Using Technology and Media. And there's a lot of it here. He talks about using one's moral agency when creating and utilizing social media. So, for those that might not remember, for those that studied a long time ago, and for those not members of our church or need a brush up or renewal on what moral agency means, this is a definition by Elder D. Todd Christofferson of the Quorum of 12 Apostles when he taught. The word agency appears in scriptures either by itself or with the modifier moral. When we use the term moral agency, we are appropriately emphasizing the accountability that is an essential part of the divine gift of agency. Agency is like free will, having choices versus not having choices. When people use clickbait and they get people to click on their podcast or things, in a way that's interfering with the person's agency because they're not able to make a decision properly. And then they look at it and realize, ugh, this isn't right. And they turn it off, or they look at it and they keep looking because they're addicted to it. So when that happens for me, when I find somebody using a title or picture for clickbait, I put a thumbs down on that particular podcast. We are moral beings and agents unto ourselves, free to choose, but also responsible for our choices. Also, we had a past apostle and president, President Packer, named President Packer, adds agency is defined in the scriptures as moral agency, which means that we can choose between good and evil. The God given gift, we are with this God given gift, let's say that again. With this God given gift, it means that we are free to choose liberty and eternal life through the great mediator of all men, Jesus Christ, in other words, or to choose captivity and death according to the captivity and power of the devil. And this comes from the Book of Mormon. We have 2 Nephi, chapter 2, verse 27. So these are a few questions that come up in this article. 1. How can I use my moral agency to make choices to control technology so it doesn't control me? 2. When have I used my moral agency to plan ahead? Do I feel better and make better choices? In other words, set up a time. If you're finding you're using social media or your computers or being on your phone too much, put it on your schedule for how much time you want to spend on social media. Okay, I'm putting it on my schedule. I will spend 20 minutes in the morning and 20 minutes after dinner to spend on social media, and I'll keep to that, right? So you can plan and make better choices for use of social media. When have I used, or how can I use my moral agency to pause and take a break? Imagine that. I don't have to be on a device all the time. And then he talks about being wise, or have using your wisdom and your agency, moral agency. As technology continues to evolve, we will all face many decisions. Instead of looking to the church or to your spirituality, if you don't belong to the church, for specific rules and lists, we can turn to Heavenly Father, the Savior, the Scriptures, and the words of modern prophets for principles to help guide our choices. The Spirit will help us know if our choices are right. The words of Jacob are applicable today as they were when he first taught them. This is from Jacob, chapter 6, verse 12. Oh, be wise. What can I say more? Okay, there are also some really good videos that illustrate the principles that I've highlighted in this podcast, and it's called Taking Charge of Technology. And you can go to our gospel library and at the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints and look up Taking Charge of Our Technology and clicking on the spyglass, and you will find that particular video. There's a lot of good information on the internet. Many people, I've heard that many teenagers and people that are in their early 20s strive to be influencers to earn an income, and they consider that to be their main job. So they're working on getting clickbait and on getting different types of ideas out there that may or may not be helpful in a person's life, in a child's life, in a developing brain. It's very important that they receive input, and input that will lead for their best interest and development. Now, we have a prayer roll on our website as well, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. And you can go into the little search bar with the magnifying glass and put in prayer roll if you're having problems with being addicted to social media or any other type of processes that are on the internet, or even certain streaming videos, or any sort of substance, or any sort of thing that may be taking up your time and making your productivity as a normal human being, connecting to people, connecting to your job, connecting to your family, whatever it may be. There's a prayer roll. You can put your name and the word "and family" after it, and then put enter the name there. Prayer works. If you're not sure if you're addicted to it or not, or this isn't hurting me, I don't need to listen to this. Well, pray about it. Whatever your religion may be, pray about it and say to yourself, okay, what can I pray about today in the morning? How can I be more connected to my spiritual purpose in life? As we've talked about previously, there was a premortal life where our souls existed, and we came down into a physical body in order to experience challenges and trials. And this is one of the trials of our environment today, are devices and social media and some other things that'll be coming down the line for sure, having to do with AI and robots and other automated type things. So it's important to have a prayer in the morning and ask how you should spend your time. And if certain items that you're watching or are taking up your time are valuable for you and what you were placed on earth to do. So there's something else I wanted to say, but in any event, it'll come back to me and I'll probably do a podcast on it. Um, Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. If you find this valuable, please take notes about some things that you may have heard today, about the questions and the different points of interest that we've brought out. And please have a peaceful and hopefully uneventful day. This is 11th Hour LDS, and we'll see you next time.